Welcome back to Tell Me More Stories Told This podcast. I gotta say, there are few things more captivating than watching a fiery sunset paint the sky. You know, those vibrant hues?
Oh, absolutely.
It's a daily spectacle, something we often take for granted.
Yeah,
But trust me, there's a whole lot more to sunsets than meets the eye.
it's true. Sunsets, they're a blend of science and beauty. And, they're kind of a reminder that even the most familiar sights, like a sunset, have these hidden depths just waiting to be explored.
Exactly. That's what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
We're going to dive deep into the science, the myths, and just the sheer wonder of sunsets.
We'll uncover, why sunsets are more colorful than sunrises
Ooh, good question.
and why the sun appears squashed on the horizon.
Oh, yeah. It does look kind of squished sometimes.
Yeah, and how those breathtaking colors, it's like a cosmic magic trick, light and atmosphere.
I like that. A cosmic magic trick. Okay, let's start with the basics. We all know the sun seems to move across the sky and dips below the horizon at sunset. But what's actually happening?
Well, the Earth is constantly rotating.
Right.
And that rotation makes the sun appear to move across the sky. So sunset is simply the moment when the sun disappears below the horizon because of Earth's spin.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something earlier about sunset actually happening 2 minutes before the sun disappears. What's
Mhm.
that all about?
Ah, that's where things get really interesting. It's all thanks to this phenomenon called atmospheric refraction. Imagine a straw, like in a glass of water.
Okay.
Looks
Yeah.
bent, right?
Yes, like it's broken at the waterline.
Exactly. And that's because the light is bending as it passes from the water to the air. The same thing happens with sunlight as it enters the Earth's atmosphere. The light gets bent, making the sun appear higher in the sky than it actually is, especially when it's close to the horizon.
So we're actually seeing a kind of optical illusion. The sun is already lower than it appears.
Precisely. It's like the atmosphere is playing tricks on our eyes, and this bending of light, it not only affects the sun's position, but it also plays a key role in creating those stunning colors we see at sunset.
Wait, so the colors of a sunset are also connected to this bending light. How does that work?
Okay, well, think about a prism.
Right.
When light passes through a prism, it gets separated into different colors, creating a rainbow.
Oh, right. Like how a rainbow forms after a rainstorm.
Exactly. The Earth's atmosphere acts like a giant prism, especially at sunset when the sunlight has to travel through a longer path in the atmosphere to reach our eyes.
Okay, so the atmosphere is bending the light, and that's separating it into different colors.
Hmm?
But why do we mainly see reds and oranges at sunset?
That's because of another phenomenon called scattering. As sunlight travels through the atmosphere, it collides with air molecules and other tiny particles. These collisions cause the light to scatter in different directions.
So the light is bouncing around in the atmosphere.
Exactly. And here's the key. Shorter wavelengths of light, like blue and green, are scattered away more easily, leaving those longer wavelengths of orange and red to dominate as the sun's rays travel through a longer path in the atmosphere at sunset.
That makes sense. It's like the blue and green light gets lost along the way, and only the reds and oranges make it through to our eyes.
You got it. And this scattering process is also why the sky appears blue during the day.
Okay.
The blue light is scattered in all directions, making the entire sky appear blue. But at sunset, when the sunlight travels through more of the atmosphere, those blues and greens get scattered away, leaving the reds and oranges to steal the show.
Wow, it's incredible how all these different factors, they just come together to create such a beautiful display. It's like a cosmic symphony of light and atmosphere.
It truly is. And it gets even more fascinating when we consider how these sunset colors can change, depending on atmospheric conditions. For instance, if there are more particles in the air, like dust or pollution, the sunset colors can be even more vibrant, more intense.
Oh, that explains why some sunsets seem so much more dramatic than others.
Yeah.
It's like nature is turning up the volume on its light show. And before we get lost in the beauty of it all, let me remind you to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more fascinating stories like this on Tell Me More. We've got a lot more to explore, so stay tuned. Okay, so we've talked about how the Earth's atmosphere, that it's like a giant prism scattering light and creating those spectacular colors we see at sunset.
Uh-huh.
But I'm curious about those blue sunsets on Mars you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
If our sunsets are red and orange, why are Martian sunsets blue?
Well, it all comes down to the composition of the Martian atmosphere.
Okay.
Unlike Earth, which has a relatively thick atmosphere made up mostly of nitrogen and oxygen,
Right.
Mars has a very thin atmosphere
Uh-huh.
composed primarily of carbon dioxide,
Uh,
and it's chock full of dust.
so it's the dust that's making the difference.
Precisely. These dust particles are much larger than the gas molecules in Earth's atmosphere, and they scatter light differently. Instead of Rayleigh scattering, which is what makes our sky blue and our sunsets red,
Right.
Mars experiences something called me scattering.
Me scattering. That sounds intriguing.
Mm.
What exactly is me scattering?
Imagine shining a flashlight through a dusty room
Okay.
versus a clean one.
Right.
In the clean room, the light beam is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But in the dusty room, the light scatters all over the place.
Oh, I see.
That's because those dust particles are big enough to reflect and redirect the light in different directions.
So it's like the dust is creating a light show of its own.
Exactly. And on Mars, those dust particles scatter the longer wavelengths of light,
Okay.
the reds and yellows,
Right.
forward, while the shorter wavelengths,
The blues.
the blues,
Yeah.
are scattered backward. That's why during the day, the Martian sky often has this pale butterscotch yellow tint.
Interesting.
But as the sun sets, the sunlight has to travel through a longer path in the atmosphere. And that's when those blues get scattered back towards the observer, creating a blue sunset.
That's so cool. So it's almost like the blue light is taking a detour through the Martian dust before it reaches our eyes.
Exactly.
But hold on. You also mentioned something about a Martian afterglow
Oh, yes.
that lasts for hours. What's that all about?
Yes. That's another fascinating effect of me scattering. Those dust particles high in the Martian atmosphere, they continue to reflect sunlight even after the sun has dipped below the horizon, creating this diffuse glow that can linger long into the Martian night.
Wow. It's like having a second sunset, but in slow motion.
Yeah,
It really makes you appreciate how different sunsets can be,
it does.
depending on the planet's atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's incredible to think that something as simple as dust can create such dramatic visual differences.
It really is.
Speaking of visual differences, I've always wondered about those jaw-dropping photos of sunsets we see online.
Yeah.
Are those vibrant colors and fiery skies real, or is there some photo magic going on?
That's a great question. While some photographers do enhance their images,
Yeah.
many of those breathtaking photos are indeed capturing real phenomena. Remember how we talked about volcanic eruptions impacting sunset colors?
Yes, you mentioned they can create those amazing afterglows.
Right. Volcanic eruptions release particles into the atmosphere that can scatter sunlight in unique ways,
Uh-huh.
leading to those incredibly vibrant and unusual sunset colors. Even without volcanic activity, variations in atmospheric conditions,
Oh, okay.
like humidity, cloud formations, and even air pollution, can all contribute to the intensity and drama of a sunset.
So it's like a perfect storm of natural elements coming together to create these spectacular displays.
Exactly.
And photographers who understand those elements know how to capture those fleeting moments of celestial beauty.
Precisely. They understand how to use light, composition, and perspective to showcase the full splendor of a sunset.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about snapping a picture.
No.
It's about understanding the science and artistry behind those stunning visuals.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder that there's always more to discover,
Yeah.
even in something as familiar as a sunset.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You know, sunsets, they've been a source of inspiration for artists, poets, and musicians for centuries.
Oh, absolutely.
They evoke feelings of wonder, tranquility, and even a touch of melancholy as we witness the end of another day.
It's true. There's something universally captivating about watching the sun slowly dip below the horizon,
Yeah,
painting the sky with those vibrant hues.
I agree.
It's like a daily reminder of the cycle of life and death, renewal and change. And it seems like every culture throughout history has found meaning and symbolism in these daily celestial events.
It's amazing how a single event can hold such diverse meanings
Yeah.
across different cultures. It really highlights our deep connection to the natural world. We've been observing sunsets for millennia, and that shared experience, it transcends time and cultural boundaries.
It really does. And perhaps that's why sunsets hold such a powerful allure. They offer a moment of pause, a time to reflect on the beauty and mystery of the universe and our place within it. It's a reminder that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves, connected to the rhythms of the cosmos.
It's a beautiful thought, and it makes you realize that sunsets are much more than just a pretty display of colors.
Right.
They're a window into the history of our planet, the science of light and atmosphere, and the enduring human fascination with the cosmos.
And the best part is we're still learning.
Yeah.
There's always more to discover about sunsets. Every observation, every new piece of data adds to our understanding of this remarkable phenomenon.
It really is amazing. You know, listening to you talk about the science and the history of sunsets,
Yeah.
it really makes you realize how much we take this this daily spectacle for granted.
Yeah.
We rush through our days, heads down, focused on our screens,
Right.
and often miss those fleeting moments of beauty
Yeah.
that surround us.
It's true. We live in a world of constant distractions.
We do.
And it's easy to lose sight of the simple wonders that nature offers us each day. Sunsets are a reminder to slow down, to look up, and to appreciate the beauty that exists all around us.
Absolutely. And speaking of appreciating beauty, I remember reading somewhere that there's a place on Earth
Uh-huh.
where the sunset lasts for an incredibly long time.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know anything about that?
Ah, you must be thinking about the midnight sun phenomenon. In certain locations above the Arctic Circle
Okay.
and below the Antarctic Circle,
Right.
the sun doesn't set for a period of time during the summer months.
Wait, so the sun just stays up in the sky
Yeah,
all day and all night?
it does.
That's amazing.
It is. It's due to the tilt of the Earth's axis.
Okay.
During the summer solstice, the poles are tilted towards the sun.
Right.
And in those polar regions, the sun remains visible above the horizon for 24 hours or more.
Wow. I can't even imagine what that would be like to have daylight for an entire day.
Yeah.
It would completely change your sense of time and rhythm.
It certainly does. It can affect sleep patterns, wildlife behavior,
Oh, wow.
and even plant growth. It's a truly unique experience.
It sounds incredible. I'm adding that to my travel bucket list for sure.
You should.
But even without traveling to the Arctic Circle, we can experience something quite magical
Yeah.
right here in our own backyards.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about those rare and elusive green flashes that sometimes occur at sunset.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen one?
I have. It's a fleeting phenomenon,
I bet.
but it's truly remarkable. It happens when conditions are just right,
Yeah.
and the atmosphere acts like a prism, separating the colors of the sunlight even more dramatically than usual.
So it's like an extreme version of that atmospheric scattering we talked about earlier.
Exactly. For a split second, as the last sliver of the sun dips below the horizon,
Okay.
a green flash of light can appear. It's caused by the green wavelengths of light being bent just slightly more
Huh.
than the other colors.
Wow. It sounds almost mythical.
It does, doesn't it?
Like something out of a fairy tale.
And it's a reminder that even in the most familiar sights, there are still hidden wonders waiting to be discovered. All we need to do is pay attention.
That's such a great point.
Yeah.
We often get so caught up in our daily routines
We do.
that we forget to look around and appreciate the beauty and mystery that surround us.
Yeah.
Sunsets are a perfect reminder
They are.
to slow down, to look up,
Mm-hmm.
and to marvel at the wonders of the natural world.
They truly are. They're a daily dose of awe and inspiration.
Yeah.
And they're a reminder that even as each day comes to an end,
Right.
there's always something new and beautiful waiting to be discovered on the horizon.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this episode of Tell Me More Stories Told as Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed our deep dive into the captivating world of sunsets, and that you'll join us again for more fascinating stories and insightful explorations.
Until next time, keep looking up and keep those curious minds engaged.